It began with a knock. Not the kind of knock that rattles the door or demands attention, but a soft, deliberate tap, like fingertips brushing against glass. At first, Sarah Connelly thought she had imagined it. Her house sat at the edge of Pine Hollow, a small, quiet town where the nights stretched dark and still. She had moved there for peace after her divorce, bringing her 8-year-old daughter, Emma, with her. But lately, the peace had begun to feel like isolation. That evening, as the wind carried the scent of wet earth and the trees whispered outside, Sarah heard it again. Tap, tap, tap. She froze in the living room, her book slipping from her hands. The sound was coming from the wide front window. Slowly, she turned her head. A man was standing outside, face half hidden in shadow. His features were indistinct, but his posture was wrong, still rigid, as if carved from the darkness itself. He didn't move, didn't wave, didn't speak. He only watched. Sarah's heart pounded. She yanked the curtains shut, checked the lock on the door, and tried to laugh it off. Just a stranger passing by, she whispered to herself. But something in the way he stood, silent and unyielding, burrowed under her skin. The next morning, she told her neighbor, Mrs. Green, about it. The elderly woman frowned. "We don't get many strangers here," she said. "You keep your doors locked, Sarah. Pine Hollow may look safe, but these woods hold secrets." Sarah tried to shake the unease. Days passed without incident. Then, one night, as Emma slept upstairs, Sarah descended to the kitchen for water. Her breath caught. Slowly, she turned toward the window above the sink. There he was again, the same man, standing outside in the dark. This time, she saw more. His clothes were outdated, almost decades old. A worn jacket, trousers too short at the ankle. His skin was pale, and his eyes, they seemed almost hollow, reflecting the dim porch light. Sarah stumbled backward, dropping the glass, which shattered across the floor. The man didn't flinch. He just raised one hand, slowly, pressing it flat against the window. By the time she gathered her courage to look again, he was gone. Sarah called the police. A young deputy named Cole arrived, notebook in hand. He checked around the property, his flashlight sweeping across the yard. "No footprints," he said, frowning. "No sign of anyone out here. Maybe a prank." But Sarah knew what she had seen. Emma began noticing things too. The creak of footsteps outside her window, the faint shadow crossing her bedroom wall at night. "Mom," she whispered one morning, her small hands clutching Sarah's sleeve. "The man in the window watches me when I sleep." Panic rooted in Sarah's chest. She set up cameras around the house, determined to catch him. The recordings showed nothing unusual, just empty nights, rustling trees, and silence. Yet Sarah kept waking to that sound, that awful tapping at the glass. One stormy night, Sarah snapped. When she heard the tapping again, she grabbed a kitchen knife and ripped open the curtains, ready to confront him. The window was empty. She sagged with relief, almost laughing at herself. But then she heard Emma scream upstairs. Sarah sprinted to her daughter's room. The window stood wide open, curtains whipping in the storm. Emma was curled in the corner, sobbing, pointing to the closet. He was here. He came inside. Sarah yanked the closet door open, knife raised. Nothing but clothes and shadows. She locked the window, rocked Emma in her arms, whispering promises she didn't believe. The next day, desperate, Sarah drove to the county archives. If the police wouldn't believe her, she'd find answers herself. Hours passed as she flipped through brittle newspapers, the ink smudged with time. And then she found it. A front-page article from 1979. The headline read, "Local man dies after watching families through their windows." The picture beneath made Sarah's blood run cold. The pale face, the hollow eyes, the outdated clothes. It was him. The article described how a man named Thomas Hale had been caught peering into homes across Pine Hollow. Neighbors called him the Watcher. One night, he was found dead outside a farmhouse window, his heart giving out mid-peep. But the locals whispered he never left, that his spirit lingered, searching for windows to haunt. Sarah slammed the file shut, her hands trembling. When she returned home, the air inside felt heavier, charged with something unseen. She checked every lock, every camera, every corner. That night, as rain pelted the roof, she stayed awake in the living room, knife on the table, eyes fixed on the window. Hours crawled by. Midnight came and went. Then, faintly, she heard again. Talp, talp, talp. Her heart thundered as she forced herself to look. Thomas Hale stood outside, closer than ever, his face pressed to the glass. His lips curved into a smile, cracked and wrong, revealing teeth too dark to be human. Slowly, he raised his hand and traced letters on the foggy glass. Mine. Sarah screamed, yanking the curtains closed. Emma bolted downstairs, crying. Sarah grabbed her, dragging her toward the door, determined to flee. But the locks jammed, the door refusing to budge, as if an unseen hand held it shut. The lights flickered, the air grew colder. In the reflection of the darkened TV screen, Sarah saw him, not outside, but inside, standing behind her. His hollow eyes bored into hers, his grin stretching unnaturally wide. She spun, clutching Emma, knife raised. But there was nothing, just the empty living room, the sound of rain, and the weight of something watching. When the police arrived hours later, after a frantic call from Sarah, they found the house locked tight, the windows shut. Sarah sat on the floor, pale and shaking, Emma clinging to her. The deputy asked what happened, but Sarah only whispered, "He's in here." He never left. From that night on, the house seemed alive with whispers. Neighbors reported seeing a shadowy figure at the Connelly window long after Sarah and Emma fled Pine Hollow. Some say if you walk past that house on a stormy night, you'll still hear it. Talp, talp, talp. The man in the window, waiting for someone new to notice him.